That's right. We are live right here at WCRS. We can remember stuff. And today you're going to want to remember a whole lot of stuff here today, because we have Rob Jones with the Patterson Insurance Group talking about all the changes and whatnot that are coming with the upcoming Medicare plans, the ACA plans, all this stuff going on. Rob is here to answer your questions and to tell us about it. A lot of plans that we know of that are here, I understand, are changing. So you're going to have to do something this year, and you better pay attention, because he's going to tell you all about it. So without further ado, let's introduce to you Rob Jones. How you doing today, Rob?
Great, Ann. It's always good to be here.
Absolutely. So, well, I guess we need to address the big elephant in the room. What about the shutdown? How is that affecting what you're doing right now?
It's making my life very difficult.
Okay. Well, all right. There you go.
Yeah, well, because we don't know what the subsidies are going to be, and the ACA enrollment started November 1st. It goes through December, but we don't know what the subsidies are. So when we're quoting people now, we may have to call them again a month from now and say, okay, everything we looked at is wrong. We got to change it again. And that's
so. Should people go ahead and?
Absolutely, they need to go ahead and talk to somebody and at least get an idea of what they're looking at.
Okay.
It's not affecting the people on the bronze plans very much, but on the silver and gold, it is. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning on a conference call, and he was saying that, a client he talked to yesterday, it was paying $200 last year. It's now $2,000.
Well, how can people pay that?
They can't. That's the problem. And that's what he's like, am I going to just roll the dice, or what are we going to do? And so we're as helpless as they are, quite frankly.
Well, I understand that a lot of these subsidies that they're talking about, though, were extra subsidies that were put in based on COVID.
That's correct.
And those were agreed upon to run out this year. So are they making that big a difference?
It's a big difference, and we knew we were going to lose part of it. That was part of the big, beautiful bill, and but we didn't expect to lose that much. And quite frankly, we still don't know what we're losing. I don't know
right.
what I'm saying that. We might get the same thing again as a compromise, that they can work out up there. Hopefully. It would help me a lot more if we could keep them.
Well, the thing that I hate about all this, they knew from March that September 30th the government had to be funded.
Right.
And I know that it is, quote, the Republicans passed the clean CR. But why hadn't they already passed a bill and been done with it? Right. Any other business would have to do that.
Well, unfortunately, the Republican Party keeps saying we just want to do away with Obamacare, period. But I'm like, great, what are you going to put in its place?
Right.
You can't just throw 40 million people off their insurance suddenly.
Right.
And there's no answer from either side.
Correct.
On that. And I'm a staunch Republican, but I'm not happy with the way they're treating this thing. It's very nonchalant to me when we're talking about people's health care.
Correct.
And there's something that has got to give.
Well, and the thing about it is they knew this was coming.
Knew it was coming.
So I think the thing that I resent that they didn't resolve that before they went to this government. It's just like doing the budget. Why wasn't the budget done September 30th?
Right.
Well,
I think the goal by others is to make us as miserable as possible for a while to see one more thing you can throw up against the president.
Well. That they are doing. They are making people miserable. And we're not going to get into politics here today, but we are talking about the fallout from the shutdown that we are suffering here. So, are there going to be some big changes with Medicare this year?
The biggest changes if you're on a Medicare supplement, you don't have anything to worry about. You're okay. If you're on a Medicare Advantage program, a lot of the carriers are pulling plans out of our area. United being one, Humana, Aetna with a few of their plans. So if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, and 60% of the population is now,
right,
you better call your agent or call me, hopefully, and we'll help you figure out what you've got and make sure you're not one of the ones that have to change. Because if you don't make the changes in time, come December 8th, you're out of luck for a whole year. And you're going to have to go without insurance for that period of time.
Well, the extra insurance, right?
It's your subsidy.
Your subsidy, right.
Your Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare Part C plan.
So, are there still good plans out there?
Sure there are. Lots of them. And what we do is kind of like I did with you last year. We put all your info into the computer, and we have a database that shows us, all the plans that are available in our area. Because every plan is county specific.
County specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're the only county they're pulling that big United Healthcare plan out of that I told you about.
Why is that?
I guess they were losing money hand over fist with it because it was a very rich program.
Okay.
And they're getting it out of here. And so I got almost 2/3 of my clients I've got to move between now and December 7th. Plus, hopefully, help a lot of new people too.
Right.
So that's where we are on it.
So these plans are changing. They're still good plans. Well, how about the drug plans?
Drug plans are pretty much the same this year. I'm not going to name a specific company, but there's one out there who's kind of taking over that marketplace in South Carolina right now. You only need that, of course, if you have a supplement. If you're on a Medicare Advantage program, your drug card is built in. Mm-hmm. And as part of all this, though, we still don't know what drug prices are going to look like next year. Because it's all, again, back to the same cycle,
But haven't they negotiated some better deals on drugs?
They have on a lot of them.
Right.
Particularly like insulin. No insulin is more than $35 now. Then there's others that they're regrouping. But the biggest thing they did was get rid of the donut hole. We all heard about the donut hole or the coverage gap, since this all was inception. But it is... Now, when you have paid $2,000 out of pocket, where you used to fall in the donut hole at a certain point,
right?
Everything just goes to catastrophic care, and you basically pay nothing.
Oh,
after you pay $2,000 out of pocket.
But is that a new policy, or
brand new?
That's new? Okay.
It was supposed to have closed years ago, the donut hole, but they kept extending it.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you go to pick up your medication and you find, oh, you owe $700.
Right.
Why?
Well, last year, most all the plans added a deductible on Tier 3 and 4 drugs, like $650 to $700, and that. So that first part is on you,
right?
When you go before they start paying. Now, what a lot of them are doing to take a little salt out of the wound is to spread it out through the year. If you got like a drug like Eliquis, the first month might cost you $300, and then you only go to like $47 for 2 months, and you pay another $300, and it works like that through the year till you're done.
But you need to know this, though, so you can budget, right?
Absolutely. That's why it's important that you talk to someone like myself and make sure that you're on the right track, because if you don't know, you're going to get some big surprises coming down through.
Sure, and if you think, oh, well, I paid the $300 and then I'm down to $47, and then you get another bill for $300,
right.
You're going, what the heck's going on?
Exactly. And
yeah.
So, that's why it's important to make sure you take the time to either have a long conversation. We can, now you don't actually have to come to the office. If you got video capabilities, we can talk right over a computer.
Right.
And still be face-to-face.
Right.
Or we can do phone-in things, but it's a lot better if I can show you everything on a screen like I do when you come to the office.
Sure.
We can still do that through a team meeting or a Zoom meeting, something like that.
Well, we're here with Rob Jones. He is with the Patterson Insurance Group. And, Rob, what's your phone number that you want people to call?
It's 864-223-0920.
Okay.
And we're open 8 to 4:30 every day. And happy to help y'all.
Even Saturdays?
Not Saturdays.
All right, just thought I'd ask. Hey, listen, if you are listening out there and you've got a question or a comment, we've got our legacy line, 864-229-7984. You can leave a message on that. But if you use our new text and voice line, 864-332-9355, you do get to leave a message right away, and we can ask Rob that question. So 864 888-332-9355. Let us know if you've got a question or if you've been put off. Now, one of the other things is, Rob, people just go crazy with sending businesses all this information. I mean, you get postcard after postcard and, oh, this has been specially prepared for you and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's ludicrose. And there needs to be the CMS needs to act on this and limit what they're doing with the advertising. And, I mean, Humana starts running it back in September.
Right.
Early September about all these things. And, they can't even talk to anybody until, October 15th. You get calls all the time, and you're not supposed to, if they're calling you about an Advantage plan at least. They can call you about a supplement. But if they're talking to you about a Medicare Part C or an Advantage plan, get their name, their number, and turn them in. Because they're breaking the law every time they do it. Even the big companies, even like if Humana calls you, they're not supposed to do that anymore either. They abuse it all the time.
Wow.
And so make sure, protect yourself.
Well, it sounds like this must be pretty lucrative business if they are sending out all these postcards and mail and everything. And then, of course, you have all the television commercials, et cetera, too.
Yeah. Well, that's why some of them are such skinny plans now because they don't have a lot of meat left in them because they've spent it on advertising.
Right.
Right. Because the government, when you have an Advantage plan, the government gives every company that's in it the same amount of money per person they sign up. And it's up to them to design their suite of products and run their advertising and all of that through that budget that they got from the government. So that's what you have to lose. That's why it pays to shop, because you might be getting a really here that you think you got a loaded plan and you really don't, and something over here may be a lot better for you. So.
Well, I know one of the things that you like to do is find out what medications people need, what their issues are. Do they have heart problems? Do they have high blood pressure? Have they got leukemia? Whatever, because then you can tailor a plan.
I actually can't ask if they have leukemia. The only thing I can say subtle things. I can usually look at their medications and tell if they're diabetic or have heart problems.
Oh, okay.
Because those can put you into special programs that are designed for those people to help them better cover those costs with those type medications that they need. Yeah, because there are no medical questions. There are no pre-existing conditions or anything like that.
Right.
That's why we can't ask about your health.
But don't certain programs help better with the type of medications or the doctor visits that you have or specialists that you need?
That's why I get the drugs first.
Oh, okay. That's why you get the drugs first. Okay.
And I usually like to get those before you come to my office because, number one, it takes a long time to put it all in. But then I can kind of look at it, and then it's okay then if I say, okay, so you're diabetic because you're taking insulin or Humalog or something like that, or I recognize the cardio medicines too.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I spot it, and then I can ask them. That's okay. You don't get in trouble for that.
Right.
But if I can't say, how's your health? You can't do that.
I'm sitting here dying.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a plan for me?
We have to write you.
Well, that's very interesting, too. So nobody will be turned down.
Nobody can be turned down, even on the ACA plans. As long as you do it during the open enrollment. I was on the phone this afternoon with someone who she had a draft set up for it, and they suddenly quit drafting her after a year. And she woke up one morning with no insurance, so she's had to coast for a year to get insurance back and just been living on pins and needles, just
she didn't get
worried
sick.
something was going to happen to her.
Right.
But luckily, she did not, knock wood. She's got 30 more days to go. But
wow. Wow. Well, that's something. All right. So how do you go about helping somebody find a plan?
Okay, good question. When you call me for your appointment, I'm going to ask you some basic questions. First one being your medical. I normally ask that if you can email or text it to me, it's even better. If you have my chart, you can print your medications right off of there. Or I've had people take pictures of their medications.
Right, yeah.
And send them to me because they didn't want to write it all out.
Right.
Which is fine. Whatever it takes to do. I don't mind giving my cell phone number out to anyone. In fact, on some of my historical things that we do, it's on all the brochures.
Right.
So we don't care. But yeah, then we put you in the database. I find out who your doctors are. You got to make sure those line up. If they work for self, are owned by Self. They pretty much take any of the networks around here. But there's different counties that you got to be careful of with some of these programs. So, and then you got to look at, do they have a deal with all the hospitals?
A deal with the hospitals. Now, I'll be interested in that. What's a deal with the hospital?
Well, you as per the insurance carrier has to make deals with the hospital whether they're going to accept the program as they pay it. So if anybody that works for them, all the medical offices, things have to accept the same deal.
Right.
But then you give like Prisma. A couple of years ago, they were having a war with United Healthcare. And it took 3 years to bring that to fruition to get them back on a nice long-term care contract. The problem that caused is United is the largest employer health plan out there, and all those big companies in Greenville, people were hurting,
right?
And they couldn't go to the Prisma hospitals; they had to go to Bon Secours or St. Francis. Well, they're badly outnumbered by the the Prisma hospitals, so that's a problem. There's a really good plan with Devoted right now, called Devoted, that. The big problem is, it's a beautiful plan. It has a great give back and things like that, but they don't have Prisma. And that can be a problem for some people in our area.
Right.
If you have to go to, I've been to one Prisma doctor in my life. That was when I was having an eye problem, and I got referred up there.
Right.
But if I was on that plan, it wouldn't have got paid for. They didn't fix it. I had to go to Augusta to find somebody who knew what they were doing. But that's kind of the way these things happen,
Wow. Okay, so most important is to get in touch with you, give them a list of your medications, and talk about it, and then you can work up how they can.
We put them in that database I was mentioning earlier, and it'll give you a side-by-side comparison of the ones I think you should look at. I'm not real comfortable with HMOs, so I don't usually recommend them. Some people don't mind it. You give up a little freedom with an HMO that you don't have that case.
Well, what do you mean by an HMO? What does that mean?
A health maintenance organization. That means they basically control the whole aspects of it. You have to go to their doctors that they tell you to go to.
Right.
And unless it's something they have to refer you to someone else, that's okay. But you just can't say, well, I'm going to go see this doctor next week, regardless if he's in my HMO or not. Guess what? You're going to pay full price if you do that. Or at least have to pay a heavier fee for being out of network, So yeah.
Well, what about if you travel? What about for people that travel? That's not something I guess that we should need to talk about. But I know that a lot of people that travel, this is a problem.
A lot of seniors travel.
You're right.
Yeah. If it's domestic, you're covered anywhere you go.
Okay.
If you're overseas, they will pay. Most of the plans will pay up to $50,000. Of course, that's what Medicare pays, and they pay just like they normally would. But their theory is you get over there, you get well, and you get home. And then you get treated.
Right, right.
You get stabilized, and you get yourself back to the United States. I had a group of clients. Every one of them that was on this cruise, they all got sick, and they didn't realize that they had coverage while they were, over in Europe. So we had to go back and refile for everybody and get them a refund for what they had to spend out of their pocket. But,
well, they always say though that can be a real problem to be traveling out of the country.
Sure.
Yeah.
It can be. I don't know if you remember Louis Grizzard. Mm-hmm. He wrote a lot of great books.
Right.
But one of them he talked about, he was in England when he had one of his heart issues. And they told him he was going to have to stay there for all year. And he said, I'm not staying in a foreign country during football season. So.
Well, he might have this year.
Well, Georgia's still doing okay. So
Georgia's doing okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, so what is the difference between original Medicare and Medicare Advantage?
Okay, original Medicare, even if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, you're still part of original Medicare. That's when you join Medicare and you start paying your Part B premiums, mm-hmm. That's when you become part of original Medicare. What happens when you join a Medicare Advantage is they become your claim payor.
Okay.
Okay, they're doing it more efficiently than the government. Surprise, surprise. And that's why they can give you so many different things with their plans, like vision care and dental care and hearing and things like that Medicare doesn't pay for.
Okay.
Podiatry care, surprisingly, things like that. So the advantage to those is that they are usually premium free.
Okay.
But there's some people don't like them because they say, well, it doesn't pay enough. Well, that's the fee that the doctor has agreed to.
Yes.
To accept for that service. The other big problem is finding dentists who will accept Medicare, because especially in this town, we don't have that much competition among dentists, so they don't have to join networks. Well, they're
I noticed.
I have a client, I think he might be your dentist, that I asked him, I said, would you just please join this and do me a favor? I can send you a ton of clients. He said, why am I going to work for less? I'm not going to. So.
Yeah.
But now the young doctors, and we're getting a few around here now, are like the corporate dentists, like in Aspen or somebody like that. They all gladly accept any kind of insurance they can get their hands on, So that's kind of what we recommend for that. But as far as vision plans, you can go to your specialist like Greenwood Eye Clinic. Mm-hmm. You just pay like a specialist fee. They don't cover glasses and contacts there for some reason, but you can get your prescription and go somewhere else and get your glasses made if you wish to. Then there are some doctors in town that do accept vision, but hearing aids, you can pretty much go to any hearing center and use coverage there. But most of the plans do have their own line of hearing aids, so you can choose from those. And I hear people come to my office all the time and say, "Yeah, I just paid $6,000 for a set of hearing aids. I hated them. I went to Costco and bought a $450 pair, and I'm happy."
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
So I might try that first if I were you.
Right. Yeah. Why spend $6 if $4 might do it? Right. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you're on a plan that usually they will give you up to $1,300 per year.
Well, now, Rob, if somebody is confused about what kind of plan that they have and they're working with you, can you help them to advise them, once you're in that plan, well, this is how you need to do things, mm-hmm. or go here, or this type of thing? That's
what we do. And when the people come sit with us, we spend a good bit of time with you to make sure you know what you've got and to make sure you're comfortable with what you bought. If you're just not comfortable with an MA, a Medicare Advantage plan, then we'll just, let's look at a supplement for you too. I'm going to show them both. Mm-hmm. And here's the pros and cons of each. The only con with the supplements is the cost. You have a monthly premium
right.
with a Medigap plan or supplement plan.
Right.
And then you got to buy a separate drug card, a Part D card on top of that. And by the way, a lot of people think, I'm not going to buy that right away. I don't even take any medication. Buy it. Buy the cheapest one you can find if you don't take any medication.
Because?
Because there will be a penalty in the future when you need it and you try to sign up. And it's stiff, and it's for life mm-hmm. once you start paying it. So
I think I am stuck with that. But mine isn't that much, mm-hmm. because it was relatively, I didn't realize you needed to do that. Mm-hmm. But I think I pay $8 or $9. Yeah.
And some people are paying a lot.
Yeah. Well, this was.
Yeah, you caught it sooner.
Right. Exactly. But I have heard that before. Hey, we're talking with Rob Jones with the Patterson Insurance Group. This is an important discussion about what you're doing about Medicare. What are you doing about the ACA Obamacare? We're going to be talking some about that. So, and how the government is affecting things, what you can try to do to protect yourself, and how you're probably going to end up back there talking to them even if you sign up, although Rob says you need to sign up, and then if you have to adjust afterwards. Is that right, Rob?
Right. It's just frankly, your agents won't be able to see everybody on the last day.
Right.
So go ahead, sit down with your agent, talk about the whole situation, and let them help you.
Probably when they get to this point, just like they have in previous years, they'll extend some of if you've already signed up and you need to make a change, don't they do something like that?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Oh, I thought maybe that would help out.
There's something called open enrollment period that was from January 1st to March 31st. And that's the time if you bought a Medicare Advantage plan and you didn't like it,
right,
you can switch to another one mm-hmm. without any kind of penalties.
Right.
After the 31st, you're stuck till next year.
Oh, okay.
So you got to make sure that you get the one that you want. That doesn't mean you can go from a supplement to a Medicare Advantage plan during that period. It's just MA to MA plans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, these are things that are out there that, I know you're saying, and why are we discussing this? Because it's important, right? It's important. And if you don't want to be, have to go to the doctor or not be covered or not pick out the right plan, right now you have the opportunity to get with somebody knowledgeable, Rob Jones over there with Patterson Insurance, and they can help you pick out the best plan. Now, the only thing that may change is the cost and everything when the government decides to open back up.
Right.
And they work on something, and they're going to have to do something.
They got to do something, yeah.
So that is something that will have to be, but at least you will be covered, and that sure is better than having no coverage and thinking, oh, I'll just wait until. So we're going to have a quick break from our discussion here. We got to have some ads for you on the radio. We'll be playing some music on Facebook Live, so you stay right with us on WCRS. We'll be right back. I am Ann Eller, here with Rob Jones from the Patterson Insurance Group. So let's take it away right here. Oh, that's right, and we're back right here at WCRS Radio. Yes, I am Ann Eller. I am right here with Rob Jones this afternoon. Rob is with the Patterson Insurance Group, and he's talking about an important topic. May not be one you want to talk about, but an important topic, because what happens if you don't make a decision, Rob?
Then you will be without coverage for a year.
Okay, so you can't just say, oh, I missed it, and go sign up.
Nope. They give you 2 months, and you better get it done in that period of time.
Okay. So now let's maybe talk a little bit about famous Obamacare. What's happening with that? I've heard so much about the pricing.
The pricing is because of the subsidy war that we're having right now.
Right.
And we I think we all agree somebody's going to give somewhere, on this thing, because it's going to be a disaster if we don't. And they may have to extend it. They could if they wanted to. I know they've extended it for natural disasters before.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And this is a disaster.
Right.
Impending on us. So we hopefully they will take it out and maybe give us till January 15th or something, but don't give us anything until we know you're going to have a compromise here.
Right.
But you got to remember, this is hundreds of millions of people that have to get enrolled in a very short period of time.
Sure. Now, my understanding is that the original subsidies with Obamacare are still in place. The thing that's going away at this moment is the COVID subsidies that they put on it.
Right. But again, we still don't know what the subsidy is going to be, because that's adjustable.
Right.
Even if it is from the original bill. So, like I said, right now there's nothing. We can show what it's supposed to be.
So even the original subsidies aren't there?
Well, they're showing up on the quote system.
Okay.
But and especially with the bronze plans, they're going to be okay one way or another. But like I said, people on the silver or gold plans, it's really up in the air as to how much they're going to be able to get.
Okay.
Because like I was telling you a little earlier about the person who was paying $200 has now got to pay $2,000 a month. That is a lot more than it should be.
Right, exactly.
That's not a subsidy. I'm sorry.
Right.
And so right now you can make up to, I think, as $64,000 and still get some subsidy.
Right.
As a single person.
Okay.
And a lot more than that for families, obviously, depending on how many dependents you have. So, but yeah, hopefully that's something that they will bring to a head quickly.
Well, this is what the Democrats wanted, their $1 trillion, before they'd even sit down and talk about the budget, right? The clean CR, is this what they're talking about? Well, that's a huge amount of dollars. Mm-hmm. That's a huge amount of dollars, and it has even, I know, because I pay attention to politics, it's even made some people that are our representatives think twice, even on the Republican side, about what they're doing. So that's got to be an issue, but we have now gone into the longest shutdown in history. Isn't that something to be proud of?
Gosh.
Yeah. I thought maybe the day after the election that they'd come together, because they'd say, well, we held the line through the election. So I thought maybe they'd come together. But right now it sure doesn't look that way.
No, that's the whole point up there right now. That's why, this country in my lifetime's run well twice.
Twice?
When Ronald Reagan was president, he could cross the aisle and go talk to Tip O'Neill.
Right.
They got stuff done. When Bill Clinton was president, he could cross the aisle and talk to Newt.
Right.
And they got stuff done.
Right.
Now we can't get anything done.
Right.
Period. I've got a friend who was a state senator down in Columbia. Somebody in his family had held that seat for 49 years.
Right.
And he got out in 2018. He just said, Rob, because it's not any damn fun anymore. Everybody just out for themselves.
Right.
And he left. He said, I'm going to work my tail off for the next 10 years and retire and be
happy camper.
Be a happy camper.
Yeah. Well, it is. And when we could talk all about that, but when you look at what gets done versus they're supposed to be doing the people's business, it is kind of hard to see where they are doing the people's business.
Yeah. Well, I will say our delegation here works very hard for us.
Right.
And but I don't know anybody in the national level that works as hard as I think they should.
Exactly. Okay, so we are so on Obamacare. When do people have to apply for that?
Well, started November 1st.
Okay.
And runs through December.
Through the whole month of
December 15th.
December 15th.
Right.
But the Medicare one runs through
December 7th.
Right. So really you've got a month on the Medicare.
Right. So get your appointments now, because we're filling up.
Right.
And we'll accommodate as many people as we can. I would work a Saturday if I had enough people that came in and wanted to go.
Right.
Just no skin off my nose. I'm not married.
Okay.
I don't play golf anymore.
Right. So
it's too cold to fish.
yeah.
So.
Well, there you go. Okay. So what are you doing, Rob? Watching football.
Watching football.
All right. So now, but on the Obamacare, they've got to get in. They have through the end of December to get this in. But the one thing you don't want to be dealing with this is right around Christmas time.
No.
So.
And that's going to affect people. They don't. What can I go spend this year?
Right.
If I got to pay $2,000 starting January, can I go out and spend?
Well, I don't even see how people, even with people with good incomes, can afford to be doing this, really, if those are the real prices we're looking at.
That's the real prices, and that is a bare bones plan. That's a bronze plan. Which has like a 70-30 or 60-40, co-payments on everything, or that percentage that you would have to pay. And I don't get where this money's going to come from if they don't help us some. At least, as you say, give us the original subsidy,
right,
that we know what it's going to be solidly, so we can tell people so they can prepare. And you'll probably see a lot of people jump from silver down to bronze, to even try to afford that. I can't imagine what a gold plan must cost without a subsidy right now.
Wow. So these are things you've got to look at. You cannot look away. You've got to make that decision. So we just talked about the dates for open enrollment. And if you'd like to call and talk to Rob, 864-223-0922. That's 864-223-0922. Call him and make an appointment. And like he said, you said if you can't get into the office, you can do it on a video telephone call to show them the charts and this type of thing.
Or just a straight phone call, we can do it.
Right.
By the way, if it's on over the phone or over the internet, those calls must be recorded. I just be aware of that too.
Right.
But that's only for your protection.
Right. But you can at least start getting information, right?
Absolutely.
And if you don't get the they always say information is king. If you have information, you can make good decisions. So we're talking with Rob Jones with Patterson Insurance Group. We're talking about Medicare Advantage, Medicare, Original Medicare. We're talking about all the plans that are out there. What has happened to company plans, though? We used to have a lot of company plans. Are most of those gone, or people still have company plans?
Companies still have their plans. If you work for Eaton or any of the big companies around here, you're going to have them. Even the smaller companies have medical insurance normally.
Right.
But the little mom and pop shops,
no, they don't.
They don't have it anymore.
Right.
I used to write small group all the time, but that doesn't hardly exist anymore.
Right.
Because it got to be cheaper for them just to go out and give employees money to go get it on their own.
Right.
And then there's also some rules that even if your coverage is very expensive, you can't go out to the marketplace and get a new plan on your own if you work for a company that offers coverage, unless what you're going to be charged is 9% or more of your salary.
Why is there all these rules?
You know who makes these plans? They're called politicians.
Yeah, but I don't understand. It should be an open marketplace, right?
There should be, and that was what was called for a long time before the Obamacare thing. But one good thing Obamacare did was make it available to people with medical issues.
Right. Doing away with the pre-existing conditions.
Right. And I think that's been wonderful. I've had to take advantage of that myself, But they are, if they don't do something about that quickly, it's going to be a real mess,
So you would expect that something is going to happen.
I think so. I think it has to. Or we're going to have a revolt of some kind. I mean, we can't not pay our military. We can't not pay these other people and still keep giving checks to politicians.
Well, how about how it affects the hospitals? How does it affect, our hospitals? Because when they negotiate all these deals, a lot of our hospitals, we see these prices on how much you pay for a room, and then you see how much is actually paid. There's a huge difference.
Massive.
Yes.
They play the write-off game at that point.
Right.
But I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you, these days.
Right.
But I think they make the concessions they can make to the plans and still can run, profitably if they're a for-profit hospital.
Right.
But most of the time, I don't see how they do it, to be honest with you. But they're paying out a lot, because you've got to have, because Medicare, when you join the original Medicare, will pay basically everything except a deductible and 20%. 20% doesn't sound much, but it's nothing to spend $100,000 when you go to the hospital now for a day or two.
Right.
Guess what? You just owe $20,000.
Right.
And you thought that 20% was nothing.
Right.
And suddenly it's a very big something, And the hospitals usually will help you set up a payment plan or something like that. But it takes a long time to pay off $20,000.
It does. It does. And so, but they have had some plans that would even take care of that out there.
Oh yeah, we used to have plans that paid everything.
Right.
And they weren't that expensive, believe it or not, back in a few years ago.
Right.
But that animal is gone. You're not going to that just doesn't happen. That's a good thing about like having a Medicare Advantage plan. They don't have deductibles per se, except on a couple little things. They just have a copay for every day that you're in the hospital. You might pay $350 a day for the first 5 days, but that's it. That's all you pay.
Right.
So that's why your visits are capped.
Okay.
And that's why very few people ever hit their out-of-pocket maximums a year, which are usually about $6,500 to $6,700.
Right.
You normally have to go to the hospital about 4 times in a year for extended periods to ever hit that. So I'll give you a good example. My own father, before he passed, his last go-around, his bill was over $880,000, and we paid $2,200.
That's reasonable.
Well,
I think
wrote
that's
that
very
check
reasonable.
fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't have any problem with that. But what kind of plan was he on?
He was on American Advantage plan. He had a Plan F, which was the Cadillac plan. Mm-hmm. But he was a Monsanto retiree, and he basically was. By that time, he outlived his retirement. Right. And so he was just living on a fixed income. Well, his premium on his Part F was almost $400 a month, plus another $100 a month for his Part D card. And he's paying his Part B coverage too. He couldn't do that anymore. So we moved him to the Medicare Advantage plan with no premium. And we had to pay a little bit when he went to the hospitals and stuff, but it was a whole lot better for him doing it that way.
Wow. All right. Well, we are here with Rob Jones. We're talking about insurance. We're talking about Medicare, Medicare Advantage plans, original Medicare. We're talking about Obamacare. What's the AEP versus ACA?
AEP is annual enrollment period.
Oh, okay.
That's Medicare.
Okay.
That starts on October 15th. The open enrollment or annual enrollment period for the ACA is Affordable Care Act, or AKA Obamacare.
Right.
It's what most of us still call it.
Right.
But it is the ACA.
Right.
And that starts on November 1st and runs through December 15th. So.
All right. Well, you got to get this done. You got to make a decision. You should call Rob and talk to him at 864-223-0922. Now, let me
0920, Ann.
0920. Oh, I'm sorry. Why did I have 22? Okay. 864-223-0920. Write that number down and give them a call. 864-223-0920. Now, Rob, what if they were dealing with somebody, but maybe they weren't too happy with who they were dealing with, but they felt they really needed to go back to them? Do they have to?
Nope. You can work with anybody you want to.
Okay.
That's why I say call me if you're not happy where you are.
Okay. All right. So that's that 864-223-0920. Make sure you give Rob a call or anybody that you like. But the big thing is get in there and start talking. And there is nothing wrong with comparing if you go to one provider or one person selling insurance and you want to check with somebody else, there's no problem with that.
Nope. And that's not a bad idea for some folks,
Okay.
If you don't think you're getting a good plan, you should, by all means, go talk to somebody else.
Yes, go talk.
Of course, everybody's going to have a different opinion.
Right.
But we're going to give you printouts to show you, what you're doing with us. And,
right.
And I'm not going to steer you wrong on anything because I don't need money bad enough to cheat anyone.
Right.
And
and you want to sign them up next year.
I want to sign up next year, and I want to sign their cousins up and everybody else that we help out. And we get a lot of that. So thankfully, the biggest part of our business is on referral.
Sure. Absolutely. So make sure you give them a call. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit, since I think we've covered, is there anything else we need to cover?
I think we've hit the gamut of it.
Okay. Why don't you tell me what's happening out there at Cokesbury College, where you and several others work very hard to get ready, get that place ready, but also are working with the 250. You know, we've got our 250th anniversary if we make it.
Yeah. July. Next July.
That's right. Tell us a little bit about what's happening about there.
Yeah, I'm a chairman of the board up at old Cokesbury College. This is my 16th year on the board, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And we've been making some huge progress the last few years, getting the place just looking nice. You know, we put a new porch on the front. We painted the building. Got all the wrought iron blasted and repainted. And then last year we built a beautiful 20-foot round gazebo that a man named Chuck Faust, who lives out at Wesley Commons, he's a retired engineer. Mm-hmm. He engineered the whole thing, and we built it using just volunteers and people on the board. And God bless them, the guys from Faith Home have been a tremendous help to us up there. They come and help out.
Right. And
it's a beautiful gazebo if you haven't seen it. We do have a Christmas party December 6th from 4 to 7.
Okay.
The first Saturday of December. The public is welcome. Love to have you, show you around. It'll be decorated pretty. The Unit 1 Garden Club comes and decorates every year for us. They do a beautiful job, you know, making it look like a Victorian Christmas, because that is the period of the college.
Right.
You know, it's built in 1854, even though it was only a college until 1874.
Right.
You know, nobody in the South had any money to send their kids to school.
Okay.
You know, so they went back to the Methodist Conference at that point. But we've done that, and then we built outdoor handicap-friendly restrooms with some storage.
That was a big deal.
Big deal for us, because we did not have handicap-friendly, because you can't alter that old building.
Right.
You know, or widen doors or anything like that, because the walls are 18-inch thick brick and stucco. So
Is that on the historical register?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of it, too, isn't it? On being a historical building, you can't really alter those.
You can't alter the exterior much.
Oh, okay.
You can do some things inside if you need to. But exterior is supposed to stay close as you can.
Did you get some money from the capital sales tax to do that?
We have in the past.
Right.
We got it for the porch and for the paint and something. Well, no, I'm sorry, the capital sales tax. That's how we built the restrooms.
That's what I thought, right.
But the problem with that was, you know, we put in for that in like
2016, 15,
15, right.
Yeah.
And we were the 13th project in line. And then COVID hit. And then we finally said, oh, your money's ready. So I went out and started talking to contractors. Well, we originally had estimated at $33,000 through the same contractors.
Right.
Now needed $90,000.
33 to 90?
Yeah. They wanted $90,000 to build those same restrooms. And we just didn't know what to do. And then I got called on the carpet because we hadn't spent the money. And I said, well, let me see what we can figure out. And then we went back to Mr. Faust again. And he said, I can build something like that. And he drew up the plans, and we built it. We have 2 nice, very big, friendly restrooms, and air conditioning, heat, everything in them.
And how much did that cost?
We brought it in for $33,000.
Wow. Okay. Well, then that's a plan, right?
We had to spend a little of our own money to get it completely done, but it's been worth it. And not that we have a lot of money.
Right.
We depend on the largesse of the community.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
and,
but it wasn't 90,000 or anywhere close to 90.
Not close. And that was, like I said, using most of our board that we're working up there are all above 70. We have one that was 93.
Okay. Well, you got a good group up there.
We have a wonderful group. And then, like I said, the guys from Faith Home came, and especially when it came time for roofing and things like that, they were great. And a lot of them were master carpenters. And so they just did a beautiful job. So got that done recently. And now we're starting on the old village store, which is across the street from the college, just barely across.
What are you going to do with that?
That's going to become the Tommy Odell Educational and Visitor Center, named after Mr. Tommy Odell, who's been on that board for over 30 years.
Wow.
And they call him Mr. Cokesbury.
Mr. Cokesbury?
Because he knows everything about it, you know. And he's a wonderful fellow if you've never met him. It's worth coming up there just to meet Tommy.
Wow.
And he's a great guy. But I'm really blessed to have such a good board up there. We've been careful about it. Mm-hmm. You know, we said, okay, we're not taking any chair fillers. You got to be willing to get your hands dirty
Right.
and pitch in, to do what we need to do. And luckily, I've got we got 2 seats open. If any of you are being interested.
And if you want to get your hands dirty,
Right.
that's right.
If you love history, we'll know it because there's so much history there. It's unbelievable.
What's one of the most interesting things that you've learned over the last few years?
Well, several, but one, that's when Jefferson Davis was fleeing Richmond, they came right through there. He slept right down the street at Martin Gary's mother's house, which still stands. And his generals stayed in the house on the other side of the college. There's a big 2-story white house. And all the soldiers camped out on the grounds there that were still with him. And that's where they dismissed them all, except for his personal bodyguard stuff. And they were supposed to have the last meeting of the Confederacy at Cokesbury. But they found out Davis had already sent his family to Abbeville. And the North found out about it. And so they tried to flank him to get in there first and capture his family.
Right.
So they had to get up early and go to Abbeville and have their last meeting. And then they all spread to the 4 winds, until they finally caught Davis down around Irwinville, Georgia.
Wow. Now, what about Salvador?
Francis Salvador. I think Mr. Tinsley was in here last week, told you all a little about Francis. But we have 3 big figures in Greenwood County that we're going to be celebrating for Greenwood 250 or 250 period. Mm-hmm. One being Francis Salvador, I just find him a fascinating guy. He was only here 3 years, but what an impact he had in 3 years before the Indians scalped him. But he came here from England. His family originally owned 150,000 acres, basically from
150,000.
Yeah. Basically from 96 to almost to Abbeville, and parts toward due west.
Right.
So it was huge. But his family also owned the East Indies Trading Company, and a massive earthquake in Portugal basically collapsed the company. So that's what he was over here. He had $75 acres left that they didn't sell, and he was going to try to revive the family fortunes here and then bring his family over because he had a wife and 4 children. And he came here and he immediately hooked up with like the bigwigs down in the Rutledges and the Pinckneys and all those folks down in Charleston. He's extremely well thought of. He's extremely well educated fellow. And they elected him as a representative. And did it twice, as a matter of fact. And it was illegal for Jews to hold office then. And that was the other thing about him. He was a Sephardic Jew from England. And I think the original clan came out of Spain, but they'd been in England for hundreds of years. And so he came here, and then he is the Southern Paul Revere.
Right.
He made a midnight ride from his home up here close to Park Seed.
Right.
Down to Whitehall, which is down 221, which is Colonel Williamson's house, and told him that the Cherokee were raiding coming down the Cherokee Trail, which actually runs right through the yard at Cokesbury College and through Tabernacle Cemetery and all those places. And so when he could rouse the men, and Colonel Williamson started rousing guys and come to fight, but Salvador took on off back up toward Kiowee and was fighting with them up there when the Indians captured him and took his scalp. So he was. Last thing he asked him though was, "Did we win?" And like, "Yes, we did." And he died.
Oh, wow! Well, that's a good story. Now you're moving his marker, which is out there by Burton Center.
Right, it's down at the foot of the hill on 221, and we're gonna move it to near his original property. Actually, where the Tabernacle Cemetery marker is, it's gonna be there too, and we're gonna try to build a nice little park around it. Because he deserves it. And I'd love for him to have a horse statue one day.
Right.
But we got to raise the money for that.
Right. That would be cool. That would be cool. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, we quite often don't think that Greenwood had that much to do with the revolution in the beginning of it. But First Blood was actually right there in 96.
Right. And I spent Saturday morning cleaning the graves over here where Captain John Montague is.
Right.
John Montague was basically Washington's bodyguard. And he took a saber to the head and forearm, protecting George Washington. And he's buried right out here, And his great-granddaughter, or great-great-granddaughter, turned out to be Wallace Simpson.
Wow.
who, got King Edward to abdicate just because
Right.
he loved her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Big love story.
Right.
I don't think I could have given up being king for a girl, but not king, I can get any girl.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, she must have been special. She must have been very special. Well, Rob, this has been great. We've been here with Rob Jones with Patterson Insurance Group. If you'd like to give him a call and find out more about insurance, what you should do, how you should go about it, getting some idea of some plans, because if you wait till the end, you may not be able to get anybody to talk to you because everybody's going to be so busy.
Yeah.
So call them 864-223-0920. Rob, is there anything else you'd like to wrap up and tell people before we finish?
No, I've just had a great time, and I appreciate you having us on again this year.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. So that's going to do it for us. I will be back in the morning. That's right. Try to be in a better mood tomorrow morning. Was not in a very good mood this morning, I'll admit it. You might want to watch it to see what Ann Eller in a bad mood is. Nah, I'm just teasing. Anyways, this is WCRS right here in Greenwood. That's going to do it. Drop the curtain and play the music. Cue the music. I'll be back in the morning. Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you, Ann.